Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited to do my first layout for StashBash Take 10. We're going to be using this really great sketch from the scrap room right here. Let's get that nice and clear for you. I'm going to be using that. So I have the two photos I've already printed, and I have my background sheet of paper, but that's as far as I've gotten so far. But this sketch, yeah, you could have a lot of fun with the sketch. So I'm really excited. Sketches are kind of my favorite kickoff point. So thank you, ladies, for giving us this great sketch. So I'm going to be using this set of photos here of my youngest dog having his first puppuccino. He was a very, very happy boy. My daughter Ryan took him for one, and she said that the whipped cream was flying all over her car and it's a disaster, but he had a great time. And I know I'm going to be using this paper right here for my background piece of paper. So that's as far as I've gotten on this. I did go ahead and put some of my embellishments into my tray so that I can rifle through them easily. I have my cork, I have my Jen Hadfield pieces, and then this is a bunch of pink fresh stuff. So I'm going to start there. I do have a couple of packs of embellishments in my kit that are not opened. And what I thought I would do is see how far I get with this, because I really want to use up some of my stash. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and work through my process and fast forward that part, and I'll come back live at the end. Okay, wish me luck. Okay, so I'm going to start by trimming up the photos of my pup Mason. I have been consistently trying to figure out where that sweet spot is when I use my Canon selfie to be able to get a nice white border on my photos, but somehow that just doesn't seem to happen that much. The good news is we always have tons of white scraps laying around, so I can go ahead and mat my photos, which does give more dimension, so I should stop complaining, I think. Anywho, I'm using this really great watercolor looking background. I think that's from the Heidi Swap Pineapple Crush paper pad. That's a great paper pad. If you can score that from Tuesday morning, you will be happy. I know that it's really supposed to be tropical, but I have used that paper pad for a bunch of layouts already, and I don't think a single one of them have been tropical or beach themed. So it's just that the colors are just the bee's knees. That's how it is. So with this kit that I put together, I did make sure to include a bunch of scraps. So that's what I'm doing with that pink sweatery looking paper. It looks like a knitted fabric. I'm just using scraps. Oh, and this, oh gosh, do you see that piece of paper right there, the yellow? That's Sassafras Lass. And the flip side is absolutely hideous, but I do end up using all of it this month of the yellow, not the, wait, I do use a little bit of the other side. You'll see that coming up. But talk about using up some of your vintage goodies. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get two of these kind of triangle notch pieces like you see in the sketch. You can still kind of see the sketch in the upper left of my frame. And I'm using a few different of these scrap pieces of paper as well to do the pattern paper on the far right side. And I also use that scrap piece of, it might be a crepe paper Valentine collection, that really pale green that you see there. So I do go ahead and use that as well, because I started by wanting to concentrate on scraps, and which I think I'm going to do a lot because I've really enjoyed that. And then I'm going ahead and, of course, getting my background piece of paper first, but really wanting to use scraps and seeing how far that I can take them, because we invested our money into them, so we should be getting a little bit of a return, in my opinion. So I'm using this really nice, vibrant navy with, I'll call it rainbow, because rainbows for me do not have to be the prescribed rainbow colors that they tell us. If I have a bunch of colors I like, I can rainbow it up. I think Reet Landgraf started doing wonky rainbows way back in the day, and I thought, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. All right, so you see that's pretty true to the sketch, how I have those two two triangular looking pieces as well as the two photos. And you'll see me audition all kinds of different papers. It's just something I do, especially when I'm using a kit for the first time. You kind of have to get acquainted with your pieces and decide what works with what. You see here, I am using this script piece of pattern paper once again, starting with it as a scrap. So I'm rather chuffed at myself for using what I have before I cut into another full-size piece of paper. Now the cool thing with this kit is you see that I'm starting on layout number 1. I do end up using every sheet of full-size pattern paper does end up getting cut into, so it's an absolute win, in my opinion at least. So I'm going ahead and trimming the pictures around Mason, and I do go ahead and I believe I double matte one of the photos as well that you'll see right here. Yeah, I do double matte both of the photos because I thought it needed some of that pop of white to bring the photos out a little bit more against the green background as well as those green pattern paper scraps. But I did want to kind of highlight some of the green tones because he is drinking or licking out of a Starbucks cup. So it does work for my intents and purposes. It's just, yeah, mentally I knew what I was doing. It's sometimes a little bit tricky to figure out what my true plan is, even for me, which is kind of funny. All right, so I'm going to trim off these little excess pieces here. And you'll see here that I did decide to go ahead and use a washi strip of, gosh, that was, what is something, oh, it was a birthday collection. I got these really nice 12-inch washi strips from Tuesday Morning. So I did go ahead and use a balloon one since he was, is it celebratory when you have your first puppuccino? I don't know. He was excited he got to go bye-bye in the car with Rye. So, and I did go ahead and arrange those cork pieces on the upper right. I don't know if I really like them. I like that it follows the sketch. I don't know if I really like those cork pieces. I don't know. But I do know that I will find a way to use the rest of them up because I am determined. So we'll see how that goes. I did think that I'm going to end up maybe flipping some of them over because I like the deep brown of the cork color for masculine kind of pages. It just looked kind of, I don't know if I was feeling it with as pretty, you know, the painted color with the cork. I don't know. But that was just for this layout. The next one, I clearly can change my mind because I just always change my mind. We like to go with the flow and learn new things every day. I believe Janet at RTS Scrapbooking was just saying that yesterday on her video. Oh, and by the way, Janet, thank you for the shout out on your video yesterday about Mini Kit Monday and my channel as well as bringing up StashBash 10. I thought that was really sweet of you. And you were so kind. I loved watching you make your kit off of Becky's kit. That was absolutely fantastic. And then I felt like making a kit off of your kit off of Becky's kit. So the chain reaction thing could just go absolutely forever. I thought that was great. So I grabbed a spool of ribbon so that I would have a circular item to go ahead and use these puffy sequins. I wanted to arrange them in a circular motion, so I just grabbed a circly thing to use them in the sketch. It's kind of a strong element in it, and I wanted to repeat it, and it also gave me the opportunity to use up a ton of these puffy sequin dot thingies. So I thought that made it look really fun and whimsical, and I couldn't be happier with how that turned out. And now you'll see me go ahead and put my title on, which won't take as long as normal, just due to the fact that I have both a sticker as well as I have a foam elfas. And for y'all who are used to my videos, my youngest pup did just come up and lay down. So we may be treated to the symphony of his snoring before you know it. So if you're wondering what that weird little background noise is, I have a puppy snoring and I have a dryer going. So I end up being all about the real life thing because that's just how my world works. You see that I'm using, I think it's called Alien's Tacky Glue. I don't know. They change the name of it at times, but I'm just kind of holding down the cork piece up there because it was trying to lift a little bit. I think it was trying to lift possibly because I have a lot of it on washi tape. So it was trying to fight with me a little bit, so I was just fighting back. So I know I wanted to use cork in another place on this layout, so I went ahead and hunted through them so that I could find 3 pieces that would work with the colors on my layout, and you're going to see me audition a bunch of pieces of die cut / ephemera right now. I did go ahead and glue on the cork pieces, and this is where I'm going to see what die cut pieces will be working where. I'm trying to stay as close as I can to the colors that are in this layout, and lucky for me, there are plenty of them with their bright color stripes and the puffy sequins and all of that. So I found this nice little floral piece. You see that I'm cutting away a little bit of the foam because it is being held up nicely with the cork pieces. And I did want to get some die cut pieces up on the top as well. In this sketch, there was like a third rectangular piece next to the 2 photos on the right. So I just decided to go kind of upwards with it instead of further to the right. I had enough going on with my strips. So I'll just be building kind of vertically a little bit. And that's the great thing about sketches is we kind of have a nice jumping off point. And from there, we get to, we just start using our own inspiration and you know, depending on the supplies we have, it can start to dictate where we're going to be going with supplies. So I'm going to find a bunch of these really great pink fresh flowers, and I'm going to start popping them in on the top as well as the bottom, and I loved that look of it as well. I've been doing a lot of vertical to the eye scrapbooking lately. It's kind of funny how we get into phases. I did find this cool little piece that I'm putting below the photo there. It has some gold on it that looks kind of like stitching, as well as, I swear they look like books to me that were hanging upside down. I don't know what they're supposed to look like, but I did like the color, you know, that's bringing your eye back to the photo. So that's the huge thought process behind that, which quite frankly is not that much. So this is where I'm starting to put a lot of the final bits. Like this sketch came together pretty quickly. The only thing that wasn't quick about it is I was watching, what was I watching on Netflix? I think I was watching the end of the Ted Bundy Netflix original that Zac Efron's in. If you guys have not caught that, it's yet another angle of the people that were affected by Ted Bundy. I mean, the whole time you end up feeling for this girlfriend of his. Like, talk about a lot to deal with there. Anyway, so the work part of the layout, not that it's work, but the fun part of the layout didn't take that long. But when you're watching a movie and kind of enjoying the flow of it, that took me a little bit of extra time. So I'm just going ahead using my tacky glue to pop my flowers in, and I'm going to leave that periwinkle one hanging partially off, and I will end up trimming it in just a second. So I'm going to clean up some of my bits so that I at least see a little gray space on my desk. I mean, I can end up, I have a really great scrap space area, and I can end up getting shoved into a 12 by 12 little space. It's kind of funny. So these little flare badges by Chamel are so cute. I ended up buying a second set at Tuesday morning because they're the perfect itty bitty size. And for some reason, the colors keep coordinating with things that I scrapbook. So I do end up killing off that little set. I was pretty darn chuffed about that. All right, I'm done. Love the way this came out. And it's truly because I was using a sketch that it gave me some really great starting off kind of direction. So there's my sketch again. I know I've shown it to you. And this is how the layout turned out. So you do see that I used the same border here. I had these 3 cork pieces I used here, and then I mirrored using 3 cork pieces over here. I have the 2 triangles coming in, as well as using 2 photos. I did not use this darkened piece right here. Instead, I built a cluster going up this way and a cluster going this way. So I guess it's a bit of a triangle design, just a little bit wonky. I had fun using a bunch of the elements from my little bin here that has some of the pink fresh elements in it. So I kind of stuck with those as it worked with the colors from this pattern paper right here pretty well. My title, which they showed as being right here, says Puppuccino Love, and this stitched circle piece right here, I ended up using these fun Pink Fresh Sequin Studio Puffs to use as my circle piece right there. So that's my layout for today. I had so much fun. Come back next Monday. I'll have the second layout from the May Stash Bash Take 10 series. I hope you liked it. I sure had a lot of fun. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.